Okay, so today we're doing something a little different. Earlier on in this channel, I made a short little series on a few horror stories like The Rake and the Russian Sleep Experiment, but I quickly ran out of material, so I just kinda stopped. But now we return with a twist. We will now be delving into the greatest piece of collective group writing in the modern age, the SCP Foundation. If you don't know or just aren't familiar, let me give you a little explanation. The Foundation proposes a question. What would it be like if there were things in this world that shouldn't be? Beings that need to be secured, contained, and protected, either from humans or to keep them from humans. There's more to it than that, but that's enough to get started. I'm never going to be able to adequately go over every single SCP in the logs, but I'm at least going to try. And today we're going to start with the first ever skip, SCP-173. SCP-173, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Item SCP-173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter 173's container, no fewer than 3 may enter at a time and the door is to be relocked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. Description. Moved to Site 19 in 1993, origin is as of yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. SCP-173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move while within a direct line of sight. Line of sight must not be broken at any time with SCP-173. Personnel assigned to enter container are instructed to alert one another before blinking. Object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, personnel are to observe Class 4 hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from within the container when no one is present inside. This is to be considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. Origin of this material is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. Now, in addition to this lovely piece of archaic fiction, there are some things you can pick up on that draw people in. But you can also tell that it is a very early SCP, being the first, with proposed oddities that don't really get answered. Like, why can it only move when it's not observed? What's the weird mixture that needs to be cleaned, and where does it come from? The appeal of the Foundation, at least one of the appeals, is that it isn't some kid who found a random cursed cartridge. It's a powerful organization that researches and catalogs. But it is apparent that early SCPs, that wasn't really fully in the forefront. If this was suggested on the site nowadays, it probably wouldn't make it just to a lack of substance in the entry. But that shows the progress on how this world took place. And there are even, as time has gone on, the original author hasn't written anything else to the SCP article, at least not that we know. Now, while the original author hasn't written anything else on SCP-173, many people have continued the story of it in some ways. Today I'm going to be going over a duplication story, 2 origins, and if there's still time, 1 short little tale called Crunch. Are you ready? Let's begin. SCP-173 Addendum 1. SCP-173 appeared to multiply, producing 2 identical copies. 2 D-Class personnel were killed. It is unknown how this process occurred. Each instance of SCP-173, now labeled SCP-173-1 and SCP-173-2, is to be moved to individual cells following original containment procedures. SCP-173 Addendum 2. A second multiplication event occurred. SCP-173-1 through 4 are now to be each contained as per original containment procedures. Object has been reclassed as Keter. SCP-173 Addendum 3. Security breach occurred on... Assuming a simple geometric progression, at least 61 copies of SCP-173 are now, as of now, unaccounted for. It is unknown how they replicated so fast, or how they replicate at all. Video evidence of the containment breach shows multiple instances of SCP-173 working in unison across multiple cells to achieve the breach. Revised Special Containment Procedures. All copies of SCP-173 are to be contained in form-fitting metal containers and sent using SCP to the now abandoned Foundation facility on the Moon. They are now to be form-fitted with tracking collars that will detect if any of them leave the Moon. SCP-173 Addendum 4. SCP-173 has caused a breach of secrecy for the SCP Foundation. Estimates at this time are roughly 500,000 civilian deaths across North America in the last 48 hours due to SCP-173, and hundreds of thousands of sightings and pieces of video evidence. Major television news programs have obtained a video
and are providing
of
instructions to avoid instant death.
Dr. Phillips, terminated. Dr. Matthews, terminated. Dr. Clef, terminated. Dr. Gears, terminated. Dr. Kondraki, terminated. Dr. Bright is now in charge of containment. SCP-173, Addendum 5. SCP-173 has besieged and destroyed 4 Foundation facilities simultaneously in the past 24 hours. Each instance shows the characteristic strength exhibited in the original, and thousands are working in unison and are capable of ripping open concrete bunkers and compromising foot-thick steel doors. Research is ongoing to find a way to combat this threat. Personal log of Dr. Bright. I've been killed 37 times in the last week. They can smell me somehow, regardless of what body I'm in. The majority decision of the remaining O5s is that this is an XK, and they're going to deal with the problem, or the Russians are. They're evacuating the space, which means there won't be a single Foundation scientist anywhere in the New World. They say they're going to try and evacuate the surviving civilians, but I doubt it. There can't be more than a couple hundred people in all of North America. The good news is about 150 of the bastards teamed up and ripped 682 apart. That one brought a smile to my face. Revised Special Containment Procedures. Containment Zone X1, formerly North and South America, is denied access. Following saturation, nuclear bombing on number of SCP-173 instances have been reduced. All available Foundation resources are being redirected to monitoring the ocean to ensure the integrity of Containment Zone X1. Foundation adjuncts from national navies are to perform around-the-clock patrols and sonar sweeps. Detected instances are to be contained and removed to SCP for transport to the lunar containment site. SCP-173, Addendum 6. Verified sighting of SCP-173 in redacted Wales, the United Kingdom. Nuclear bombardment authorized and executed. No survivors. Okay, so I am silly. I wanted to find the origin of SCP-173, and I cannot for the life of me find it. I am going to continue looking, and I will revisit this topic another day, but I cannot find it right now. So I am going to move on to the tale that is called Crunch, which is a little short from SCP-173's perspective. I hope you enjoy it. See you in a second. Room dark. People gone. Can move. I happy. Trapped for years, kept by men for research. Left alone in room, left to scratch at walls, left to rot and die unless needed. Specimen for research, trapped by self, never seen by others, never spoken. Listen, but never speak. See, but never seen. Made of rock when others come. Free when they not look, prisoner when they look back. I hate. They have freedom. They move freely, talk freely, look freely, live freely. I do not. I trapped, silenced, rock, subject, prisoner. I do thing about it. Their necks fragile, their necks weak. I stalk them, they always come. New ones come for cleaning. They look away, I sneak up. I take hold, they panic. They look, I prisoner. They blink, and I free. I twist. They die. Neck makes sound. Not words or scream or gurgle. Neck go crunch.
Crunch is a beautiful sound. Crunch means end has come. Crunch means man can torment no more. Crunch means other panic. Others become easy. Crunch begins and crunch ends. I live for crunch. Life has no meaning. Do nothing but walk and scrape and hate. They watch, they send men cleaning, and life has meaning. Cleaning means crunch. Crunch means purpose. Crunch means life. Crunch means choice. Crunch means freedom. Crunch means everything. Remember man, like me. Never see others. Never hear others. Trapped. Prisoner, left to wander. Hated man. He trapped, but he also free. He move freely, do what he want. Not trapped by men, not trapped by self. Wanted him dead. Wanted life. Wanted crunch. He did too. He came asking to die. Couldn't take it. Wanted loneliness to end. Wanted death. Closed his eyes. Asked for crunch. I laugh. I deny him crunch. He leave. He's still alive. Know it. Looking for a way out. Never find it. Life meaningless without purpose. I have purpose. I have crunch. And they always come.
Woo! One final thing you need to know about the Foundation is how its canon works. To put it simply, it's fluid. Anything goes. You decide for yourself what's canon. While I definitely wanted to tell you the origins, there are multiple. I know there are, I just can't find them. And you decide for yourself which one you enjoy. Some people think that SCP-173 is an autonomous art project made by the group of interest Are We Cool Yet? I'll get to that in another video. Or that it's simply just something that's been around longer than humans. Or do you think SCP-173 is sentient, like in Crunch, or is it just an art project that can somehow move? I don't know, and I get to decide for myself. Personally, I think that I like the Crunch tale, but you may not. And that's completely fine. It's up to you, really. And that's the great part, is that it's up to interpretation. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to do more of these, so let me know if you enjoyed it and want me to do a specific SCP in the future. Next up is likely SCP-096, also known as the Shy Guy. If you'd like to read this or anything else, go check out the SCP Wiki for more information, tales, all sorts of stuff. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye!